Hi everyone, it's Patty from PS Paper Crafts. Thanks for joining me today to make another card. We're going to make this pretty card. There's no sentiment. There's no rule that you have to have a sentiment on the front of your card. And I didn't want to hide this beautiful embossed layer. I'll talk to you about that in a second. So it's really pretty. It's just a note to let you know that someone thought of you today, and I love that sentiment. I'm using the Pretty Flowers Embossing Folder, and I'm actually embossing on the wintry white velvet paper. This paper is amazing. I have my piece cut. It comes in 12 by 12 and you get 2 sheets, and it feels like velvet, and it embosses. I don't know if you can tell, but in person it's really, really beautiful. I used it on a Christmas card yesterday. So if you looked at yesterday's blog, see this? This is cut and embossed with it, and it just feels wonderful. So I love this paper, and I'm going to use it quite a bit, I think. So anyway, that's the piece that we emboss, and I'm using the Encircled with Friendship stamp set, and it has coordinating dies that come with it if you buy the bundle. So you can always, when they say a bundle, you can buy the stamp set and you can buy the dies separately. But if they are bundled together, you save 10%. And usually when they come out the first year, they're bundled. And then if they stay in the catalog, they become unbundled. So you have to buy them separately and you lose that 10%. So it's really beautiful. There's 2 pages of dies, I guess. And this is the one we'll use today. So let me just take that out. And I just wanted to mention that these dies work in the mini catalog. Let me just show you this. The July to December 2021. These dies work with these sentiments. So you can make some really pretty Christmas cards, warm Christmas wishes, you warm my heart, and they work with these dies. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't have that set. I think I will get it. So let's get started. I'm going to just leave this out because we're going to use it. The first thing I want to do is do my embossing. So this is not a 3D embossing folder. So with the 3D embossing folders, you need that specialty plate, that gray plate. If you're using the Stampin' Up! Stamp and emboss machine. So we're going to use just the base, number 1, and you can always use this as a reference. So if you're using an embossing folder, hinge first with the 2 glass plates, but if you're using a 3D embossing folder, you want that gray plate, that number 4 plate. So it's always there for a reference. So I'm going to put my plate down and get my velvet sheet and put it in this embossing folder. And this is a really pretty embossing folder. I really like it. So we're going to just put this down, the fold first, and then we'll put our plate, our cutting plate on top, and we'll just run it through. And you can run it through twice if you want, but I think once gives it a really nice impression. And even the back is pretty. Isn't that pretty? But voila, I love it. It is a little bit, I put a lot of adhesive on it because it is a little bit, gets like a little warped looking, I guess. But we'll fix that with the adhesive. And let's put this aside. I want to do some stamping, and then I do want to cut out the green circle layer. So let's do our stamping first. So I'm using this Pretty Flower. I have it all mounted, and I'm using black Memento ink, and I just want to ink that up really good. And usually, well, I go back and forth. I want to stamp this first because I want to get the circle kind of offset, not just totally centered. See, I have a little bit of white up here. So we'll just stamp this down, and then I'll color it. So I'm using Highland Heather, Old Olive, and then I have my color lifter in case I need it. So I'll probably speed this up, but I'm doing the leaves in the light Old Olive and then the stems in the dark Old Olive. And then I'll add a little bit of dark Highland Heather to the centers, and then blend it out with the light Highland Heather. So I'll speed this up a little bit, and so you don't have to watch the whole process here. Okay, so let's, there's a couple of places I kind of went out of the lines. So there's this color lifter, which you can kind of just go over very lightly. Now it works for light colors. I'll have to say it doesn't work well if you're using dark red and you went out of the lines. So you just kind of touch it up. And I almost push it back in. I don't know if that really does anything, but it just removes it, the color. And it's really meant to lift color and give highlights in areas if you wanted to do that. But I use it to fix my errors. Okay, so now we want to use the layering circle dies. Or if you have a punch, this seemed to be, this is one, I think the fourth one down. I'll have that in my my blog though. If you go to pspapercrafts.com, you can get all the instructions and everything. So see, I don't want it centered. I want it like this. So I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm also going to cut one of these. So let me get my machine up here and we'll do those two cuts. I usually do it off camera, but this is pretty easy. And I do need my base plate. So I need my number 2, and then I need my cutting plate down below. And let's do this one first. And I am going to do them separately. You could do them together if you wanted to, but I want to make sure I get this lined up. Make sure I'm in here. Good. And just go a little bit below it. I wanted it just kind of hanging out on the side corner. And we'll put this down and roll it through. Very easy. So now we have this piece. Put that aside. And then, let me just put my circle back so I don't lose it. I'm famous for losing things. I have a couple of dies sitting here that I don't know where they came from. Isn't that silly? I'll find them though. So I started using these things to put them in the sleeves. I get this stuff from Stampin' Storage, and this way if they fall through, I don't lose them. So let's do this one. I'm going to kind of put it down here so I have that scrap in case I need it for something else in a future project. So this one I will go back and forth. So I'm going to go through because it is somewhat intricate. And we'll pull this up. And sometimes if it's dug in there, I pull it up like this. And I'm going to just put this aside. I'll clean that up later. And I'm going to use this. It's nice if it's still stuck on here. If you can't get it, it just makes it easier to kind of push through. And I'll just put it down. But if you can't get it back on the plate, it's okay to do it like this. I would just be more gentle. And it will just get all those pieces out. This is the Take Your Pick tool, and you can get the brush, and it comes with 2 of these foam things. And I'm just using a paper pumpkin box that I cut. So there you go, pretty easy. Let's put this back, and I think we have all our pieces. So I am using some of this pretty ribbon. Where is it? Right here. It is the Highland Heather Grosgrain ribbon. I thought it had something fancier than that. It's got all this sparkle in it. So I thought there was going to be some kind of glitter or glimmer, but it just says Grosgrain. If I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Okay, let's get some tape. So I usually use a couple of pieces of the old Scotch tape. And I just want it kind of in the center. And I'll put one piece down in the back. And then flip it back. Make sure it's straight. And put another piece down. Okay, so now this is where I want to see how it's a little bit wavy or bumpy, or warped might be the best word. I want to use my liquid glue, and I want to really get it out to the edges. And I didn't realize how pretty this was until I put the adhesive on the back of it. So it's another look. So I'm going all the way out. I usually don't go this far out to the edges. And you have to be careful because the liquid glue will squeeze out if you have too much on. But I really wanted to secure it flat. That's my goal. Okay. And then we'll just put this down. Make sure it's centered. And then really press it down. You could even put something on it to hold it down if you wanted to. Like a block or a book or something like that. But I think this is good. So pretty. And let's put this down. Now this will go a little bit outside of the circle. So if you wanted to use a smaller layering circle, you could do that as well. So it goes a little bit beyond this, the stitching there. And we'll just put this down. Get it all nice and centered. And then I put this down with dimensionals. So let me get some dimensionals out. Running low on this piece. And I tried to, so here's my thing. I wanted this a little bit on an angle. I tried to get them so that they were not on the ribbon. Sometimes that just makes it harder to stick. So I want to do up there and down here. And let me cut this up a little bit because I want to put a couple more on. So I'll just cut this up. Always use your full sheet of dimensionals. So I just want to put this here. And I'll put one here. Okay. And you really want to get this centered. When I did this before on my sample card, it wasn't centered, and then my gems were a little bit off. So I removed it, I fixed it. But it's easier if you have it centered from the beginning, so you have the same amount on each side. So that looks about right. And then I use these pastel pearls, which I think are gorgeous. And let me get my tool here. So see, you don't need a sentiment. I think it's fine just as it is. And then you put your sentiment and your note on the inside. So we'll do one. Oops. 2. And if you want, you can put a piece of or a whatchamacallit, a glue dot underneath this ribbon if it bothers you that it's not stuck down tight. I think it's okay, but you can always just feed one underneath. And number 3 here. And these can be moved around a little bit if you need to. Okay, and then let's do the inside. I'll just put this on. So the inside layer, I did the sentiment, this just a note one, and I did that in black memento ink. And I love that. You know, you're just letting somebody know with a beautiful card that you're thinking of them. Who wouldn't want to receive that, right? We'll just put this right here. And then I did a couple of these, oh, I'm trying to think of the name of them. I can't think of the name of these flowers. Are they hyacinth? I'm not sure. They almost look like a lily. Maybe they're a lily. I'll have to do some research and find that out. I'm sure somebody will comment with it because you guys are good. And on this one, I only use the light old olive for the leaves and the stem. And I'm using the blunt point, especially on the stem, and I'm just kind of dotting it. It's very hard sometimes to color in that skinny line. So if you just really like, just dot it, it helps. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with the Highland Heather. We'll do a little bit on the dark on the bottom. And you can make these any color you want. And then kind of blend it in. You could do this with a yellow and the purple. That would be nice. Okay, so we're done with our coloring. We can put this on the inside. We'll use some Stampin' Seal. And the card is finished. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you want. And I come twice a week with a video. And you can always visit my blog, Patty, or pspapercrafts.com. And you can email me, Patty@pspapercrafts.com if you ever wanted to reach out to me. Thanks so much and have a good day. Bye.